Welcome to the Be Student Podcast, and thank you for joining me. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the power of podcasting, branding, and messaging with our partners from Hi Hello Labs, the talented duo who founded Hi Hello Labs, Carlos and Carolina Flores. We're going to talk about what's happened this year as our podcast got launched and scaled because of listeners like you. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a really special episode for me because it's December of 2025 and it's the completion of the year that we launched the Be Student Podcast. And this was what we're calling the year of millions. We hit several key milestones in our organization that we got to the million mark on, but there's none I'm more proud of than the one you all helped us achieve, which is to hit the milestone of 1 million views of our YouTube channel. Never, ever could I have imagined that we could build a tool to connect people as powerfully as we have. And I'm so grateful to the members of my team who had the vision for this, to our guests who've been on the podcast. But today I asked our producers to join us, who have enabled capacity for us in storytelling that, as I said, was unimaginable for us. So we're at Hi Hello Labs today, where we shoot all of our podcasts, except for the ones in London. And we are here with Carlos and Carolina Flores, who've become dear friends and partners to us. And I just want to say welcome. And I want to talk a little bit about our journey together this year. I want to talk about partnership and vision and branding. So welcome. I'm so glad to be with you all here today.
Thank you so much, Betsy, for having us. And congratulations to you, your team, your audience, your guests. What an incredible, incredible milestone. I can say, I think we can count on one hand the people who have been able to achieve that out of our clients in less than a year. And so just massive congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you.
What an incredible job. And
well, thank you.
Yes, and what an honor it is to be on this side of the camera with you.
I know. I love
it. It's about damn time.
It's about damn time. Carlos wants his diva moment in the spotlight.
Give me my coffee, please.
So Carlos is so good at, managing the shoot. You're more branding, behind the scenes strategy, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
Great. Carlos is so good at managing the shoot. And one of the things that I love as a leader is when people are honest with me. And when they will say the uncomfortable thing to make sure that I'm showing up as the best version of myself. And Carlos did that early on, which for me is a trust building exercise. Mm-hmm. And was, this is a medium. I public speak all the time, but this is a very different medium. We got lighting, we got ambulances coming by, you got all different guests. It's a very, very different thing. So even though I'm an extremely confident public speaker, this was a different whole vibe to do that. Talk about your process, Carlos, when you're like, I'm just going to tell this brand new client that she needs to not say that, or she needs to not wear that, or she needs to whatever.
It's to the ethos of what content is, authenticity. You have to show up authentically how you are, and you have to say the things how you are. And that's, I preach that all the time, so I have to live it. So when I'm going to sit with a client, I'm going to tell her or him, I think you need to do this, or I think you should do this.
But you know what you just did?
What?
You started speaking softer, which is what you do when you're giving me a no.
Yeah.
You're like, I was wondering if maybe
I grew up with women, so I have to balance that.
I just love that you immediately lower your tone of voice. Oh, I just want to tell you this.
You have to. The thing is, people take criticism in different ways. And it's not me criticizing the performance or the stature or even the look. It's just me trying to make sure that you look and sound great. So there's even clients where I'm like, you need some speech lessons. Like, how can we help you do this or do that? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to me, I just have to lay it off and say, and I mean, you appreciated it, but
I love it.
You have to say the truth, because if you don't, you'll get to episode 10, 15, 20. You think you're doing a great job, and then your numbers won't, like, the math won't math, and you'll be like, well, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, so one of the interesting things, I never thought this was going to work out this way. Did you guys think our audience was going to skew so young?
I did not.
I did not either. That was a surprise.
That was very surprising to me.
And I think at last count, our audience was like 68% people under 45.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And very male. right?
Yes,
And it's
very
obviously
male.
because I'm so hot. They're following this
100%.
You're beautiful. You're
Yes,
talking about.
56-year-old mother of 2. Come on down, everybody.
That's the master class we need right
That's
there.
right there. But I had no idea that what we would be doing would be relevant to young people. And I'm thrilled because
Yeah.
they're in the danger zone right now.
Right.
Young people have got unprecedented rates of anxiety, suicidal ideation, depression. They have no idea how they're supposed to navigate their careers, interpersonal relationships. They can't afford a house. I mean, there's a war on the young, right?
Right.
And if you're a young person listening, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We have a lot of old people to help you navigate.
Well, and I was going to say, you know what? And to your point, Betsy, like, I think this is the generation that has grown up on social media, influencers, like all the different things. They're exhausted. And I'm going to say we're exhausted. I'm going to include myself in that role. We are exhausted of that. And I think any time that we can see authenticity, value, high value conversations like what you do on this podcast, it's a no-brainer for us to gravitate towards that content because it's exactly what we need, right? Like we are living in a mess of a world where someone please hold our hand. And, you know, a lot of what media will try to tell us is that the boomers are sick of the millennials and the millennials are sick of the whatever, the Gen Zs. And I think you've done such a beautiful job at integrating and being kind of multi-generational in your approach and allowing us to feel welcome and say, no, we actually are here because we want you to learn from our B-side.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
Well, so we're going to talk about what a reluctant participant I was in this whole venture in a minute. But I think it's interesting that we hear from young people because we're doing a lot of work in this space, focus grouping with young professionals and trying to understand what it's like for them. We hear that what they really want is they want to be relationship driven in how they do business because somebody's told them that's what works.
Right.
And they're smart enough to know they want to do what works. They don't know how to go from where they are to being relationship driven in business because they went through high school on an iPad.
Right.
Or they went through college on an iPad during COVID. So it's really interesting when I think about what we also hear from them, which is, I really need mentorship. I know I need mentorship. I don't know where to get it. And when you guys first called me and told me how well the podcast was performing, and I want to be really clear about this, never once did I think that you guys weren't going to be great at your job or my staff wasn't going to be great at their job. I just didn't know who would want to hear me host anything, right? And so I thought, why would anyone want to do that? And by the way, thank you. I appreciate that you all watch. I really do. So, but the thing is that I was just gobsmacked at the reaction to this podcast. But I think the reason why we're seeing some traction is because there are mentorship moments in these conversations that people are getting an expanded look, not a meme, not a carousel on Instagram. Those are fine. But this is like, let's understand why you're a master practitioner of this. What's that jetpack that's on you that's making you the best lawyer, the best commercial real estate person, the best entrepreneur? And what are those human things that are pulling through that differentiate with you? So let's talk about the fact that I kicked and screamed the whole way into this chair. That I had my comms team had said for 4 years, you should have a podcast. And I was like, I can't do that. We have to buy microphones and equipment I've never heard of. I have to be on camera. I have to pick my clothes, which I'm going to say is my least favorite part of doing this,
and
picking
you do
my clothes.
so well. You always look
looks
so good.
amazing.
Thank you, but I hate it. So, I've got to pick my clothes. We got to buy equipment. That's expensive. We don't know what we're doing. Then it's got to be edited. Then it's got to be produced. Then it's got to be distributed. That hurts my head. No, I don't want to do anything with that. So we found you guys in the fall of 2024, and I had been worn down so long by my team. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. That when I found you guys, I was like, and I'm going to be honest, I'm a big person about the packaging of people and the branding moment that comes with that. So look at how Carolina's dressed. Look at how Carlos is dressed, right? I needed someone who dressed like a grown-up in a video production
Right.
environment. Now, no disrespect to any of the hoodies being worn probably in the very next room, all right?
Right.
But for the person I'm trusting my brand to, I need you to reflect that you understand I've got a board of 21 people who I drag along in every word I say, right? And I've got to respect them in everything that I do. So I met you guys and kind of instantly had a business crush on you. I was like, this is so cool. My team came down here and checked it out and said, we really think there's a fit here. So, I said, okay, we'll give it a try. And then I thought, if 40 people watch this on YouTube.
I remember you saying that. You kept clinging to that number.
I don't know why I picked that
definitely gonna
number,
get
but
more
I was
than
like,
40.
if 40 people watch this on YouTube, I'll be thrilled. And then tell everybody what happened and maybe your experience of thinking, Betsy is a nightmare. What's going on? Tell us the story from
us,
your perspective.
We knew, and this is where it's like, I think it comes with experience where we can pick out talent immediately without them even knowing. And we've had conversations where we sit down with people and afterwards we digest it and we're like, okay, that's a show. Or we're like, oh, that's probably not going to be good or a flop. When we met you, I was like, I like this lady.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody does, Carlos. So it's a good thing that we
She's got the fact.
She's got
the
charisma.
She's got it. And I was like, yeah,
the
I think
language.
you're right.
And even though you were very like, I don't know. I knew. I was like, just give it 12 episodes. She's going to fall in love with it. Even less. And then suddenly, because we started monthly. It was once a month.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to give you 1 hour a month. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, so y'all, top tip, don't distribute your podcast once a month, all right? These guys are really good. And we said, we want to do a once a month podcast. And they were like, okay, we don't recommend that, but okay. And so
I think it was a month and a half and you were like, okay, let's go twice a month.
Oh, is that what we did? We went twice a month.
You went twice a month
Okay.
for
You
like
worked
2
your way
months
in,
or
yeah.
2 or 3 months.
God, you're
And-
like drug dealers. The first hit is free.
Yeah, first hit. Yeah.
Get you guys in there.
And then it was like, all right, we're doing weekly. And I was like, bam, this is where we're literally going to hit the jackpot.
We're gonna
And we
see the
did.
momentum.
We saw momentum. We saw numbers. And together working with your team and the strategy of like which guests, what questions, etc., we were able to hit such a great milestone and how we're celebrating today with salty donuts.
With
Yes.
salty donuts. We love it. What was
Well,
that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I'll share. So, like I said, Carlos immediately was like, yeah, she's got it. I was like, yep, she's got it. She's got it. And I will say,
Again, very hot.
me-
56-year-old mother of 2. Yes.
I mean, you were goals. That business crush kind of went both ways because I was like, who is she? I need to learn from her. But I will say one thing that I knew, would help you be a success and help the show be a success was your team. And
Shout out to my amazing
obviously
team.
you are the one in front of the camera, so you have to carry the talent to be able to do this. You do an incredible job with interviews, which is hard to teach, honestly. But you do such a good job with that. But your team, and it's almost like when you're having a baby and you're like, you just know, okay, she's going to be all right. She's got a great support system, right? With this new baby coming along that she has no idea what she's in for.
Correct.
And it was that exact same thing. And I saw your team and I said, they've got it. They've got clarity. They've got direction. They know where they're going, how they're going to do this. And so, you were also so teachable as well, which I thought was huge. Your humility was very, honestly, was very impressive because most people that come and want to sit in front of the mic have a very big personality and very big egos and, they know best. And so I think for you to also come in with all of your credentials and, to your merit, everything that you carry, the credibility you carry to sit in that mic and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Y'all tell me, and be teachable in that way. I knew it was going to be a success.
All right, I want to have a teachable moment right now based on that, right? I hire expert consultants and I listen to them. Not everybody does that, right? And so if you're hiring consultants and paying for them, do what they're telling you to do.
Right.
You're paying them for a reason, right? But more importantly, here, we're going to go back to young people for a minute. There's a really stunning statistic that we read from a study of American employers that said 58% of them do not want to hire a recent college graduate.
Interesting.
And it's not because they don't have the technical skill, because they have that in spades. They can whip around a piece of software like nobody's business, right? It's because they're not teachable. It's because they act too precious to receive feedback. They lack good judgment. And then it goes back to the hoodie. They're showing up in inappropriate clothes at work. Okay.
Right.
So this is all real tough HR stuff to confront, because you might end up in a lawsuit for just bringing some of this stuff up.
Right.
And employers are like, you know what? No brain damage for me, thanks. I'm going to go find some old people to come in here and work and teach them the software. So again, with the war on the young, we're going back to this. Cards are stacked against these guys. So if there's one thing I want you to do, it's pick really good partners and then let them guide you, right? I don't know anything about podcasting. I need people I trust, and make sure that you trust them. So go through the vetting of all of that. Now, did my team tell you how to manipulate me? Because there's a really good way to manipulate me. Do you want to answer what it is? Do you think you know what it is?
No.
Show me a spreadsheet.
Oh, that's good. She loves her spreadsheets.
She does love a spreadsheet. I can't say that they told us that that's what would work, but they were very diligent about making sure. I mean, when we told them that we have a system that tracks weekly data, and they were like, say less. This is
I think that's what sealed the deal.
We know a nerd that is going to love tracking all of that. Okay, so tell everybody about what you did with that. Because I remember our first episode launch, we had a launch party, and you guys came to we had a
live recording.
Yeah, we had a live recording, which is also like, hope that goes well. But tell everybody about the process of how you, because again, right, for us to enhance our commitment, I was leading in a way a lot of nonprofit leaders lead, which is safe, right? You don't want to do anything that puts you out there too far. You don't want to waste money. You don't want to end up publicly failing at something. So let's make this small to start. And when you said, okay, I think you might have something here, and we would really love for you to consider weekly distribution, I'm hearing that costs 4 times more.
Right.
And of course, that's what you guys are going to say to me, because it's more production here, right? Which, no disrespect meant, you're smart business people, but I'm like, maybe the show's not that great, but we just want to start making 4 of them every month. Yeah. And so I made the mistake of having too small of a vision for this and not trusting my team enough, because when I now look back with what I call my God's eyes, I can see it from behind. Well, we had the most brilliant people attached to this. Of course it's going to be successful. And I deliver about 25% of this work, right?
I don't know.
I'm the one that's visible, but it's the guests, it's the production team, it's my team getting everything loaded. And so, talk about your process in influencing me or maybe any of your hosts to kind of get them in the lane you want them to go. Because again, I wasn't too precious to receive feedback, and now I'm doing a better job at podcasting because of that, right? Yeah. And that's what I want our listeners to kind of think about, how they can show up less precious and more open to teach me, show me what to do. Yeah. That's just because I want to be good at this. And then there was no way that was going to happen if I just relied on myself to do it.
Right. So I'll share, I think to your point, the proof is in the pudding, right? So if we're showing you, hey, this is what your audience wants to hear, like we are able to actually now look at data utilizing AI as an incredible tool and say, okay, who is your target audience? What do they want to listen to? And do you have the value that they're looking for? Do those two things align, right? And so we're able to look at that and tell a host now, listen, you talk about, financial, you give financial advice. This is what your audience is Googling right now and trying to find that information that you already have. Let's put you behind a mic and get you to do that, and do that on a base that's consistent, that the quality is going out correctly, and that we are matching on the back end what they're searching for, right? And so we get them to do that, and then it works out. They see the numbers, they see the audience responding, they see the engagement, they see the reach, and it works. And so I think for us, it's also just being very transparent with whether what they're doing is working or not. And I think that's probably one of the core values and one of the reasons why it worked for you, right? When we said, listen, let's do an event to launch the podcast. Let's get the reach, because this is a popularity contest. It's not about downloads. It's really how many people can we get engaged at the same time. And when you hit that top 100 chart with one episode out within a month, you were like, oh, wait, we might be onto something here.
Well, some of that is my own imposter syndrome, right?
Yes.
So I'm sort of like, oh, well,
yes.
I'm not a podcast host. I'm a business person or whatever. And so when you show me the number, and literally I would say, can you send me that screenshot? Because I almost need to see it as a screenshot, right? Because I was like, wait, how could that even be possible, right? And so, but I want to go to a minute to Carlos, because I think you understand the DNA of why podcasting and why now. Right? Like, why is the world saying, I want to listen to all kinds of podcasts instead of watching TV or going to the movies or whatever else it might be, reading the newspaper? We know that podcasting tipped the scale in the recent national presidential election. We know that podcasting is where advertisers are going to, because we can be specific about the demos. We know that and if you don't have a podcast strategy right now, this is a good time for you to be thinking about a podcast strategy, whether it's you as a guest, whether it's you as a host, whatever. Correct. It is the golden era of podcasting. Why?
It's a creator's world. Right now, everyone's creating. If you're not creating, business, individual, whomever, you're getting left behind, because everyone has something to share to the world. It was funny, you were talking about the young people and like how we need the old people to teach us. And I was like, when you came in, as much as I loved you,
I'm an old person in this situation. I'm very aware of that.
But I told Carolina, she's got so much value, but I so much want to learn from her. Like, there's so much in her that I need. And then she's like, the chamber president, like, there's a sophistication with you that I was like, man, I want to be around this woman, to learn from this woman. And I think with all the young people out there, it's like, you have to find yourselves in rooms where you absorb the information. Now, going to the podcasting era, we saw with the elections how much influence podcasting has. Everyone is listening to some sort of podcast, whether it's thrillers or economics or whatever. They're listening to podcasting, but it's the way we are absorbing all the content nowadays. We live in this world where it's a swiping world. So it's like, that even is a part of the plan, where it's like, the content has to be so hot that your audience is going to be engaged.
Hot content. Okay. Y'all heard it here first. Hot content.
There's a rule of 7. You have 7 minutes, you have 7 seconds to be able to engage your audience. So what are you going to do with those 7 seconds or 7 minutes? Are you going to feed them what sort of content, what sort of information? So there's a lot of, in the formula of podcasting that we need, and we need to make sure that as creators that we are actually delivering the right goods.
If I can add on that I think what podcasting does too is that, because it is so wild, it's the wild, wild west, it gives creators permission to show up authentically and show up as themselves and not have to fit a mold, right? With TV, there's a certain aesthetic, there's a certain mold, there's rules you have to follow. Whereas podcasting, it's to your point, Carlos, it is a creator's world. And so I think people get to show up and be authentic, and then let the market decide what they want to consume. And then, because it is so accessible, right? You can listen to podcasting while you shower, while you're at the gym, while you're working, while you're driving, running. It's so accessible. Very few mediums have that capacity. Even video is limiting in some ways, because you have to sit down and watch. But with podcasts, you can consume that content anywhere, essentially.
Well, it's really interesting, because my industry in many ways behaves like a dinosaur. Chambers of Commerce had a really, really long and prosperous run, where they were the game in town that brokered influence and power and commerciality. And there was no other system to navigate that out there. There just wasn't. So you had to play ball with the chamber, and you had to have a membership, and you wanted to be on the board, and you wanted to, go to all the events, because there was no other way to navigate that. And the reality for a lot of organizations in my industry is that they're still running that playbook. And they don't realize that there are all of these ways now to do that work. And they're probably just like me, ouch, that hurts my head thinking about how do I start a podcast. And that's what's so great about having partners like you guys. I don't need to know how to do all that stuff. I need to have people that I trust who are going to protect my brand as we do something that I'm quite frankly not comfortable with doing, haven't done before. And that again goes back to trust as the predicate for the relationship, right? How are we going to make sure this doesn't embarrass my board, my organization, my staff, or me, or our community? So when we think about, moving forward with the podcast and kind of entering this space, I did what a lot of people would do. I was reluctant to do it, but our industry isn't moving as quickly into this space. So, there might be some audio podcasting, but no one's really moving into this YouTube space. And you guys helped us come forward with a video, I would call it video forward podcasting model. Right. Which just means so much more time on makeup and hair for me, but it's okay. I've made peace with it.
It's been worth it. Right?
But I'm sure people are like, you spent time on that today, right? Maybe not. But I'm going to share with you an anecdote from our top performing episode, which I don't think is going to stay in that spot because we got one that's climbing up really fast. We had Craig DeLonge in here, who owns 8 high-end menswear stores throughout Florida. And he came in to talk about his journey of the past 35 years owning these high-end men's stores and the 10 pieces every man needs to build his wardrobe. So that's been watched 71,000 times. And if I didn't see it, there's no way I'd believe it, right? There's just no way. No disrespect meant to Craig, who is a very colorful character and was a super interesting guest. But when he came down to the studio, he said to me, "So is this what you're doing now? Not so much the chamber?" And I said, "Craig, this is the chamber."
Right.
More people are going to connect with your brand and who you are and what the brand of John Craig is and how it's different in this model than in any other things we've ever done for you. And I said, this is the chamber. This is the new model of doing that, right? And so it was a powerful moment because people can't even really get their heads around what's happening right now with everything. There's so much consolidation. It's moving so fast. But talk about those moments you have with your clients when they realize, and we got religion and we launched weekly, in September, October, something like that?
August.
Okay, there you go. And we've just seen, I think that was when we were in top 10% globally. You texted us.
Yes.
And Carlos texted us. Do you remember what you wrote?
Probably said something like, "Ladies, get ready. Guess what?"
And then another text. And you said what?
And I sent the screenshot.
And that screenshot said you're in top 10% globally for all podcasts, right?
Correct.
Not even entrepreneurship podcasts. All podcasts globally. And I still don't believe it, even though I'm saying it. Somebody thought somebody had died in the office because we were like, what? And we couldn't believe it. But that's great partners, right? That's people, that's you giving me the notes. That's you being clear on the data and the strategy. That's everything kind of coming together. Tell us about what happens with clients when they get it.
Well, with this, we're collabing, right? But your success is our success. We want your show to succeed. The way it looks, the way it sounds. That's why we're pushing for video, because it's if you're already sitting down, give me a few minutes, put some makeup on, and let's get the camera rolling, because now we're building 2 towers. We're building podcasting, but also YouTube and video. When we got the news and we got that note of you being top 10%, I was like, I first of all, I couldn't believe it because it was less than a year. It takes about 2 years for a podcast to really hit the charts in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
So when we're seeing your podcast charting and at this level, for us, it's okay, that's obviously kudos to us.
Kudos to everybody.
No lie. But for me, the producer specifically. But then what do I tell my clients is, and we use obviously a lot of our proof of performance pieces where it's hey, listen, it is a long road, but if you dedicate, if you show up, we'll show up with you.
Yeah.
we make sure that if you're not feeling it, we'll get you the cappuccino. If you're dwindling, we'll have the conversations. But how we show up too is by cheering you on with actual pudding. We show you how your numbers are doing, how your videos, your downloads, I mean, everything. We are so transparent to where you know that once you sit in that chair, okay, I'm doing something worth it. And then also it's all the comments and all the interaction that you guys have with all your guests and listeners out there, where it's like you're hearing the positive feedback. So we want to make sure that for our clients and our podcasters is that they're encouraged by it, that it's not just, it is something new, it is something different. I tell all our clients, you're starting a new business.
Yeah.
Like, this is a new venture.
Yeah. So
you can't expect, to hit it, from 1 month to the other. Like, it takes time. So whenever we can to be able to cheer you on and be like, can you believe this? You hit this milestone. We're right there with you with balloons.
Well, we know that. It's funny. I go to bed every night and check my YouTube subscriber count before bed, and then I check it again in the morning. Because now that we've done the run of the London episodes, which we shot in London and then you guys produced and distributed for us, thank you for that. Mm-hmm. So we're getting UK subscribers overnight. So, and it's really funny because my partner, John, will say to me, well, what does Carlos say about that? So I'm like, it's really funny. He knows that you're like a influential person in my life, and I've got to do this and whatever, and that I'm beholden to Carlos. Yeah. All right. So the takeaway I want people who are listening to say, okay, great, we get it. Podcasting is important, but it hurts my head to think about it. So they're in the place I was in 4 years ago. I get it. But, isn't that for kids in basements with microphones, or isn't that YouTube? Come on, I don't have the equipment to do all that. What should they be thinking about? Like I said, either as a guest or as a commentator. They could comment on somebody's YouTube. They can subscribe. These are all ways you can join in, right? And elevate what you're doing by participating. Even just putting in a comment in a YouTube comment section, right? Which, top hint, you can go ahead and do that today on this episode if you want.
And subscribe.
Okay, so let's think about the mechanics of what a regular person could think about from this conversation, next steps in growing their brand presence through podcasting.
I would be asking myself, what is my digital footprint? Okay. Because we all have one. And so when someone Googles you, they want to do business with you, they want to be in a relationship with you, they want to hire you to be a part of their team, you're getting Googled. Whether you know it, whether you want it, whether you accept it or not, you're being Googled. And so what is that digital footprint that you are creating and that you have right now? I would be auditing that for myself and then saying, okay, if what is out there is not what I want it to be or does not reflect who I am, the expertise I carry, even as a young person who's coming up and trying to find a job, does this reflect who you are and what your true expertise is? If it does not, then I would start today by joining conversations on LinkedIn, by joining conversations on YouTube platforms of channels that you follow and conversations that are being had that you could bring something to the table to and comment on. I would be trying to guest on shows. And then if you carry an amount of value that would educate others or inspire others or motivate others, then start your own thing. Because the reality is that you're either creating or consuming. And I would venture to say that most of your audience are probably high achieving people who value personal development, who value, being members of society who are doing something for their communities, right? You should be speaking on that because there's someone with half your expertise showing up on your behalf and your industry's behalf.
Yeah, already.
Delivering it improperly.
Your thoughts?
No, I mean, I agree with Carolina. We all have the capacity to produce, to develop something.
See, when you told me that a year ago, I was like, produce what? What are you talking about?
And
do you remember when I would say, what are you talking about?
Like, man,
you could write a whole book.
She's like
and
amazing.
I am.
Yeah.
She's amazing and she's doubting it. But I think, we all need each other, and this is where it's like our expertise, we're able to help you and like shine in this new way of doing. And I know there's a lot of other things in the work. But we were so proud of this project because we were able to take someone who's very influential and we look up to, and be able to give her our tools and our thoughts and our processes and catapult it
and make
amplify
it easy.
it.
Do you remember when you said to me, I want you to do a solo?
Yeah.
Remember what I said?
Carlos loves pushing people into
How am I?
solo
Who's
episodes.
gonna listen to me for more than 5 minutes? I'm like, trust me. And here's the thing.
I was
You
nauseated that morning. Do you know that?
Yeah,
I was
but
nauseated
you brought
getting
your
ready.
dog here, so.
Yeah, the whole morning I was getting ready, and my partner John goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have to do this solo. Carlos thinks it's a good idea, but I don't want to do this."
And it was a great show.
And I had to bring my dogs just to get me through it, and then he didn't even stay on the chair with me.
He was
But
so
here's the
cute.
thing, and I think you've told me where it's like, how many people now want to be on that seat with you?
Mhm.
How many people are knocking at your door? How many people are making the calls because they're seeing the value of being on a platform, being interviewed? I mean, this is easy. We talk all day long. We're either producing noise or we're producing substance. So what are you going to produce?
Well, I was insistent that it was substance, right, from the
Mhm.
beginning. And that's where you guys, and I know that you'll just say, stop, we need to do that again, or stop, we need to go here again. And then I also know that you guys have been our partners in a super high profile event that we had here at the studio. We had the deputy editor of the Atlantic magazine, Yoni Applebaum, here for a transformational experience. And I'm just going to do a quick shout out on this. Andrew Yang had Yoni Applebaum on his podcast. And I had to go look up how many times that podcast had been viewed. And I'm not going to
She's
get
not competitive at all.
specifically into the numbers, but I am going to say, bless your heart, Andrew Yang, because we came in 2.5 times higher than that with our guest who talked about the same content. So I was like, thank you that I can feel confident bringing that kind of VIP into this space. And, the event space is really cool here. And so if people want to get started with you guys, what's the next step? What's the thing they should be thinking about?
Yeah, so they can, if they're local, they can come into our studio and come in for a tour, and we get to sit down with them and just have a conversation about what their thoughts are and kind of what projects are coming ahead. And then if they're not local, we have discovery call options. So we work with clients all over the nation, where we, do batch recording, and it's really fun. And so it's really cool to see that our reach is not just local. We've been able to expand, and the talent that has been coming to Orlando to batch record episodes. And so that's a really fun way to also put Orlando on the map for something other than theme parks.
Yeah, I love it.
If I can add something, we do it right. We don't, the amount of PTSD stories, and I'm going to add that in here, is ridiculous because so many people have been taken advantage of or have been promised and underdelivered.
There is some snake oil selling going on out
A
there.
lot.
In this industry.
In
a
this
lot,
industry.
yes.
There's a lot of coaches. Be careful with all those coaches that can do this and do that. We do it right. We make sure we dissect the why of the show all the way to the color palette
and then I
get
get to have my spreadsheets.
Yes.
I
Exactly.
love my spreadsheets.
Which we also we update every week, so that's nice to see. But we do it right. We make sure that you walk out of here, and I think with us, what's been great is that the word on the street is that we reflect what we're actually performing.
Yeah.
And I mean, just you're not gonna waste your time. That's what I want to say.
No, I feel like it was just interesting, when Craig said to me, this is what you're doing now instead of the chamber. And I was like, this takes me a long time to get to this place because we got to schedule it, prep questions, prep the wardrobe, prep all that. But I come in here for 3 hours, shoot 3 episodes, and we're delivering a kapow level of impact for our members, our community, our leading voices, just the soft power kind of halo we get around this is huge. And it's just been a great partnership for us.
And Craig's local, but there's people in the UK. There's people, where have they charted, like in the Netherlands or something?
Yeah, it's insane. I think at one point, was it France? You were like in the
We
top.
were in France, Brazil, and now we're like consistently UK. Shout out to my UK people. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
But that is the power of content, and especially online content. You've taken the world and making it small.
Yeah.
Like there are people all over the world listening to your show, and then Craig, I love Craig, by the way. I got to go up to his place. But I mean, his voice was magnified and amplified just outside of Winter Park.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's the power about the chair.
Yeah. Well, you guys, you're MVPs of 2025 for me. I just appreciate everything you've done to support my team and me. Thanks for standing with me as I move outside my comfort zone to do this, because the stories we've gotten to tell are so good and they matter, and they seem to be something you all are enjoying and finding valuable. And that means the most to me. So I wouldn't be doing my job with Carlos if I didn't say, I'd like for you to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. He has to tell me to do that all the time. But we really do love having you along on this journey. Thank you so much for sharing the first inaugural year of the Be Student podcast with us. This has been an incredible ride for me and for my team. I'm so grateful to all of our guests, our team, and certainly our partners here at Hi Hello Labs. Thanks to Carlos and Carolina for being with us today.